Hmm, 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 I heard as well. Mhm. 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 嗯，嗯，理解，卡带了。嗯，嗯，理解，卡带了。嗯，嗯，理解，卡带了。嗯，理解，卡带了。嗯， 嗯，不好。嗯，不好。嗯，不好。嗯， Mm. Mm. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. More laughing at the program itself. Hmm. More laughing at the program itself.
What? I was talking in your chat. Yeah, I called you out on it too. Fucking casual. Well, hey, Future Max, for the record, can't hear yourself, but you can hear me. Go fuck yourself. Because for some freaking reason, I can hear myself in your stream, but I can't hear you. Yep. You have been talking this whole time, and you've only been able to hear Kutch.
Huh. Well, that's
Really?
pretty unfortunate.
What the hell?
What? My voice sounds a lot deeper when I'm sick.
Yeah, that tends to happen to a lot of people. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I-
you should
I
be able to
called
hear
you
me
out
through
on
the
it
stream
too.
now.
Fucking casual. Wow, you're very quiet.
Anyway, I mean, I turned the mic up all the way.
Well, hey, Future Max, for the record, I don't know.
And I'm gonna need to go mute my stream now because now I'm hearing
Because
you
for
talking
some
through the
freaking
stream,
reason,
which
I
is
can
a
hear
problem.
myself in your stream, but I can't hear you.
So,
That delay.
yeah, pardon me for just a moment. Come over here and hit that like I should have done at the very beginning. This is still
Back
getting
off.
to me. God dang it, Asher.
What?
Stream sucks. Reported. Like, god dang it. I can't take you anywhere.
Love you too, brother.
Okay, so okay, again, back to the task at hand. The problem of how I'm going to center this.
Keep.
Probably shouldn't have deleted that layer that had the exact center of the triangle mapped out. So I'm just going to have to decide on which one of these pixels is the center in terms of top and bottom, which I should be able to do with coordinates. That should be the center right there, because it's 500, 500. So, I'm going to go back and grab my line tool again, because here we go again. I need about 50 out this way, which means that I don't actually need to worry about scrolling anywhere. And then, oh god dang it. Again, me being dumb. And not making another layer to work. Actually, I don't need another layer to work on yet. So 500 out to 50. This is back, yep, it reset itself to that tool. Okay. Well, I definitely don't want to try to draw a line with a circle. I mean, sometimes the automatic stuff that this program does is pretty neat. Other times it does stuff like this and it just gets really weird. It's gonna scroll, isn't it? Nope, just barely. Okay, cool. So that's about where I want the edges of any circle that I make to be. Now I'm gonna add another layer. And I'm going to draw my circle 100 by 100 on that. And I'm just going to use my grid here to do that, I guess. God dang it. As soon as I go to click.
Hope you like these periodic coughs when you're looking back at your artistic process.
That's not really for me.
The coughs?
No.
Oh. Good. Future person who I do not know yet.
I can just see my size down at the bottom left. So,
Holy shit.
here we go. Zoom out, zoom in. Now, theoretically, O there. That looks about right for the center there. So now I'm going to zoom in a bit more. And actually I can tell what the center is by doing this. You know what I did? I'll tell you what I did. I made an even 100 instead of a 101 by 101 like I was supposed to. Should be able to fix that just by dragging it out one each. There we go. Okay. So that should give me a cleaner center. Just out of curiosity, if I make the brush size 1, does that remove... Oh no, it does not. Matter of fact, I tend to think that's worse. Okay, so let's just leave that alone. So now we have an exact center, and now I have the object selected. I don't want to go over, I want to go down. And I can just watch that center indicator there come down to the point where I want it, which puts it right in between those two lines, which I should then be able to just hit that. Sick. Alright.
So, did you know that a Tekken game made 2 Human before 2 Human did?
What do you mean?
Death by Degree. A Tekken game, it's like Tekken Force, where you play as Nina the entire game. And instead of having like a deep combo system, it is basically it's like Tekken Force, like I said. Instead of combos, you flick the right and left thumbstick to do different attacks to attack multiple enemies and stuff. Exactly like New Human. But you have like counter attacks and grabs and stuff. Game sucked, by the way.
Well, good thing 2 Human definitely didn't. At least in my opinion. The worst part of 2 Human was dying in 2 Human, because then you had to sit there and watch an animation that was insanely long.
Yeah, no, I remember. I had fun with the game, but I could see where people had problems with it, because the game had problems.
I mean, you know, again, that was my biggest problem, was that sort of like combat pacing.
That was the biggest problem everyone had.
It pushed it out of, you know, a good difficulty and into the realm of punishing difficulty. Because if you ended up in a section that you were unable to really do anything about, like, you know, maybe it was just, you know, constantly killing you, then you would just end up getting stuck fighting the same enemies and doing the same thing over and over again, and every time that you failed to defeat the same enemy, you would have to watch the same tired, old, really long animation.
Yep. And there wasn't a penalty for death either. You didn't lose XP.
No, you didn't lose anything, just your time. Which, if anything, just made it more frustrating.
Exactly.
Quite honestly. Because at least if I was losing something, then I would have a reason to, like, okay, well, maybe I should quit the mission now because I'm losing too much, and I'll come back later once I've gotten X, Y, or Z that I need back. But that wasn't a thing. And I'm fine with the conversation because I kind of said everything that I needed to say about the whole process of this, and now it's just about doing it. And doing is almost done.
Sorry for not noticing it wasn't picking up the voice earlier. Apparently I had it muted.
That's fine. Like I said, it's not about the voice so much as the process itself.
but it is rather interesting.
Well, if I ever do any sort of artistic anything, this is kind of how I have to do it. Because if I don't do it this way... Is this thing moving? It is moving. Okay, cool. I was about to say, I'm sitting here holding down the key and I wasn't seeing anything. I have to do it this way because I don't have a steady hand, and I don't have a like a pad that I can use to draw this stuff on. So I kind of end up with my only option being pixel perfect art like this. And I have to say, as bad as that might sound, quite honestly, when it turns out, I'm pretty proud of it. Okay, so now I need to pick a different resolution. So this is about where? 960? Okay, so let's drag out a 960 by 960. Box, and then I can move the selection to be offset by what, 20? That'll be 20 on each side. And then I just want to bring it down to the bottom. Which I'm going to need to get closer in order to see.
Don't aggro. I'm just trying to get the windswept gashes. Thank you.
So, there it is. I'm going to keep the transparent layer. I can get rid of this layer right here.
What?
But this is going to be where I overwrite my changes, and it can be saved now as a PNG with transparency, so I can overlay this onto other things. I'm probably going to, in the future, use this to create another thing. Like here, I'm going to turn the background back on and turn off the other layers, which coincidentally is kind of a cool effect now that I'm looking at it, because every piece is its own layer. I'm going to, assuming that this thing right here, nope, it gives me transparency. Okay, that's a problem. So instead, I should be able to just grab this tolerance down to 0, and that, nope, didn't do anything. That didn't do anything either. Cool. Oh, then I just get really, really obnoxious. So now I have a plain white background, and I'm looking at a 960 by 862, which is kind of a problem. So I'm once again going to change the canvas size from the center. I'll bring it back to 1000 by 1000. So ideally that shouldn't stretch anything. It should just make sure that I have it perfectly centered now on a 1000 by 1000 again, which I do not, because that appears to be at about 430, which, you know what, whatever. So now I need a box that comes out to 500, 500. And this time I do want things to be even. I don't really want there to be an exact center, per se. because I'm going to do some really weird, dumb stuff. I actually don't remember how I did this. I want to say that I made the two sections, and then I used those two sections to do a third and a fourth section once these were created. And then I rendered smoke, if I remember correctly. This is where things are going to get a little annoying.
I'm pretty sure I am currently watching someone play the Wushu Master equivalent of Devil May Cry 2.
Hey Azure, can you... nah, it's not gonna work.
Glad I could help.
I'm gonna do some stuff in here. As long as I don't go to the invites tab, it's not gonna really, you know, do anything. I gave it to her, didn't I? Yeah. 228B22. And then I'm FF9900. Sorry, I need some hexadecimal. 228B22 should give me... That is not what I meant to do. That is on the wrong layer.
Done goofed.
That's kind of a cool effect again, but not really.
You will be judged in 3 seconds when the stream catches up.
Yeah. So there's the 228B22.
Well.
Yeah. Really not my intention there. FF9900. Okay.
We're at the Hunters set.
So now I want to
Wait.
not mess with that and should have an invert colors. Make that white. Yeah. Okay. This is where I'm going to save as a work in progress 2. And now there should be a... Let's render clouds, not smoke. Oh, right, no, it was the Blender mode, that's right. I don't remember which
Yeah, I got pilot hair.
I used. I want to say it was additive. But I also don't know why it's suddenly... Oh, I know why. Because I'm dumb and I'm trying to render it without changing the colors of it. So I'm pretty sure the one of them that I wanted was the 228B22, and the primary was supposed to be completely translucent. So now I should be able to render properly. There we go.
It's only through level 1. Give me something good.
Definitely want the color dodge so that the icon is still readily visible, but this is still a little too intense. And I think scaling it down just makes it more intense. And reducing the roughness doesn't make it as sharp as it needs to be. So I think at that point I just have to reseed it until I get something that doesn't look so bad. I can't get it to work like it used to. I could also, theoretically, go ahead and do this again. There's an extra 9 in there. Here we go. That's also creating a problem of, oh, right, tolerance. No, tolerance isn't helping, that's just gonna be a problem. I guess I just go ahead and do that and then change the color first. And it still isn't helping because I forgot about the tolerance again. Because it keeps resetting my tolerance. But yeah. Still not doing anything. Oh, that's why. I'm still running on the other layer.
Jesus Christ, how many of these freaking things do I need to find to get a goddamn investigation?
That's kind of the question on everybody's mind. that's kind of the best that I'm able to do when it comes to artwork, is stuff like this. Which I don't
What that
think
can
is
do.
necessarily bad, but it's not what I want to be able to do. So, I'll stop that there, but just to kind of, I guess, show other people what the heck I mean by I'm really bad at this. This is the other project that I did using similar techniques. And it does still need to be changed a little bit. It's a map in progress. It is publicized. This is copyrighted, etc. It's a horrible project, but it's still a project. It's essentially an island for one of the book ideas that I have. It's a map of the whole thing. The smaller dots are smaller settlements. The larger dots are the 2 larger settlements. And then each of these kanji represents one of the ends, like one of the points here is a temple. And I just got finished writing a bunch of the chapters for this book. I am, at this rate, probably going to end up finishing and trying to publish this one first, just because I feel like it's the most solid idea. But you can tell, if I actually zoom way the heck in, that I tried to do this as pixel perfect as possible, and you can see, if you have a sharp eye, where I screwed up. But the problem is that some of these things were screwed up because of the way that I had the canvas set up, which is why I changed the canvas pretty early on in the other project. And I essentially just tried to measure this stuff out pixel perfect as much as possible. I started with a box, and then I found the exact center of the box, and I overshot it an exact number of pixels, and just kind of measured from there, and just tried to make everything as mirrored as possible, just like I was doing with the other project. And then for the settlements, it was just kind of random dots with a certain brush size, and then the same thing, a certain brush size for these 2 larger settlements. The kanji should just be a basic typeface, not handwritten, which I mostly say because of the ma up here, this thing, because that's not what handwritten ma looks like. That's also not really what I would call handwritten hono, but either way, at least it somewhat looks like it gets the point across. At some point, I would like to find somebody who, at least knows a little bit about cartography, maybe, who would be willing to, take a commission from me to actually, create this, because this is missing all sorts of things. This is like, the closest you would get to a political map, and I did it, by taking what was once the continent of Australia, I think flipping it, taking a specific color and cutting it in half the way that I did, using the eraser tool and just kind of chopping lumps into it, and then using the same brush tool in a couple places where you see the softer curves, and adding stuff to it here and there, and then just overlaying the whole map onto it. So I had to photo edit this from step 1 all the way through, because I'm just not that good of an artist. And I have done some other strange things with it, like the next thing I'm going to show is not really my own work. It's just something that I made as a reference for myself. But I took Google's Google Earth measuring tool, and I measured out, just in open ocean somewhere, so I would have a flat color to work with, this little curved thing right here. And this is Google's property. This is Google's tool, not mine. This is not from paint.net. This measurement of 2,400 some odd miles, measured that out, and then I took a screenshot of it. I brought it into paint.net. I erased everything else but the actual measuring stick here, and then I reversed the colors, because Google's is black and blue, and mine here is white and orange, so that it stands out against the map better. And then I had to completely resize the map, because again, if you look at canvas size, this is 4,200 by 3,500. This is a really big image. This other one here is about a fourth of the size, if that. It's significantly smaller, and it was resized so that it would exactly allow this to fit from point to point across the continent. just to give me, while I'm writing this, a sense of time for the characters that have to walk around on this map, quite a great number of distances, so that I can tell, like, okay, you can't see the volcano that's supposed to be here until you are X number of miles away, which means you are X number of days away, which puts you about here on the road. That kind of stuff. Because this is a fairly big continent, as 2,400 miles across. But this is the kind of stuff that I have to do, and you can see here that there's a similar thing that I did with the four-pointed star in the circle, just so I could find these center points, and that's what just birthed the cleaner logo that I have now. I think I have one of my older logos in here somewhere, but I could be wrong, and yeah, I don't have one in here right now. So, but anyway, yeah, that is the entirety of my creative process. The only program that I know how to use is Paint.net, and I use it for all of these different kinds of strange things. I try to make things pixel perfect. I measure things out. I use the experience that I have with perspective drawing, because luckily for me, I did take a mechanics class in high school, and I had a good enough teacher there who kind of realized that in order to really do that sort of mechanics, you do need to know how to make perspective drawings and whatnot, like if you're going to do stenciling and that sort of thing. So I can do stenciling, and I can cut metal and that sort of stuff, and I can only do that because of exact measurement, and I can apply that exact measurement knowledge to Paint.net with the because it's got the pixel grid and it's got the rulers, and you can have it measure everything in pixels, inches, or centimeters. It's just a very accessible and exact program for someone like me to be able to use to make very simple art like this. If you would really call this art, because I don't know if I would. But so that's about all that I've got on the creative process that I have. Mostly just for an archive for a later occasion.